Bless our stream, though.
Yes, bless our stream indeed. What's up, guys?
Hello, everybody. Oh no, my controller disconnected. Or did yours disconnect? What happened?
Oh no, hold on. I'll fix it. Give me a second. I'll get it straight. Here we go. Alright, did I get it?
Wait.
I just hit mine.
Oh my god. What is going on?
I have no idea. This is gay.
What are you doing?
Everything's gay. I hate everything. Oh my gosh, just close the thing.
I want you to join the NWO.
I'm back to that's why are you turning off everything?
I meant to just, this is going really well.
See, now you're signed into your profile.
I know, but for some reason it was saying that the controller was disconnected, so I was trying to fix that.
I'm gonna murder.
Anyway, welcome everyone to Hot Button Co-op.
We back, bitches.
We are back after a couple of weeks hiatus. Had a number of things going on. Bit of busyness, if you will, in both Greg's and my life. We had some pretty gnarly weather here for a bit, and we're dealing with some rather gnarly weather over the last couple of days too. But yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be back with the joysticks in my hand again. Not a euphemism. And glad to be back doing what we love. Catching up after a week of insanity and blowing off some steam by blowing the heads off some aliens.
I think there's oh my gosh, why?
What happened?
You're picking up on my end.
Wait a minute, what happened? Is maybe
It's like now all of a sudden the gain isn't working.
you need to bring the
I adjusted. It's on my end. Just go ahead and continue.
the noise gate on your microphone.
Probably. Like I adjusted the. Or what if I just turn that down?
So we did that one.
Okay, well, maybe that would work.
I don't know. How are we looking?
I mean,
It's yours.
yeah, it is mine. I should just plug in my other microphone and give that a shot because I'm tired of the echoing.
The echo. Yes.
Well, let me see here. Okay,
Blooded.
here I'm just gonna turn off this noise gain.
We did
Get rid of it.
Did that one. I'm pretty sure we're on one. We're about to finish the sucker tonight. All right, selecting. Turn on the skulls. You know what I'm saying? Let's put this bad boy on.
All right, I turned everything down
Okay.
on my end, so hopefully everything should be assembled.
Okay. Do you see me popping up on your mic? Well,
You're popping up. It's like these little.
how about when I
sub-
talk right now? Yeah. Am I coming across? Do you have your noise gate turned on?
Yeah, I have it turned on.
Okay. Now you stop talking, and I'll talk. Look at it now. What's it doing? Oh man, this is
Yeah,
almost as
still go. Which is funny because it's a different OBS, but I imported it. Just start up the mission. Or wait, I'm not saying
yes. There we go. Atta boy. You want to pick up that gun there, Zed, don't you? Go ahead. I want you to pick it up. Atta boy. Hey man, you all right? No man, pretty far from all right. So what now? What now?
Yeah, I'll tell you what now.
Good.
Call up,
Couple of hard pipe hitting German shepherds.
oh gosh.
Go to work on a homeless here with a pair of pliers and a blowtorch. And Mr. Soon to be living the rest of his short ass life in incredible agony. Rapist over here. Ah. Well, how was the week for you, Greg? Now that we're getting into the fun.
It went well.
Good. Good. Is there anything of supreme note to speak of?
Like in my day?
anything strange
Like-
of your week? Like, yeah, I guess in your day to day, did anything wild happen while you were out delivering? Did somebody answer the door and they weren't wearing a shirt, or?
I was with a customer as she chewed out the restaurant. That was funny because
Wait, called up the phone and
yeah, because I delivered it to her, and
Okay.
I'm like, I hope this is right, because I showed them the order like 2 times, and they did not give you your Sprite. So, and then she looked through it, and she's like, yeah, they messed up, and she's like, I don't know what to do. I'm just like, call Grubhub and they'll refund you, but call the restaurant too. She's like, would you mind staying here? I was like, yeah, I'll stay here. Like,
nice.
I'll get in on this.
Yeah.
And just chewed out the restaurant.
You left her with the food, I assume, right?
Yeah, it wasn't the right order, but I did leave
It
it.
was something, I guess.
Yeah.
So what happens in that? Do they just refund the person? Or
Yeah,
they,
Grubhub will just refund it.
okay,
Let's see.
they don't try
Yeah.
and get a new order out?
Nah.
Oh, well, lame. Well, I guess that's something of note for sure there, with a little bit of what's the word? Justifiable and righteous indignation. Yeah, I think so.
That could work.
Yeah, she didn't call him a couple of jabronis or a dumb mook, did she?
No.
Well,
She swore, though. That was pretty cool.
all right. Okay.
Not yet.
Well, a lot has happened over the last 3 weeks. We've been out of it for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows what all has been going on over that time, so we're not even going to bother really
yeah.
getting into those 2 weeks. We're looking good now. Hey.
I think we're looking good. I think we're good.
Yeah. You're not picking up on mine. Nice. You say something, Greg.
Poop!
See, we're perfect. Great. Right. Now don't fuck with it anymore. All right.
And I didn't fuck with it before, so.
You and your sticky fingers and you're doing the things. Oh, whoops. Okay. So anyway, yeah, we were not going to be getting into the last 2 weeks we missed because it's old news now. And this has been anything but a slow news week.
What do you have to push to turn on the...
X turns on your
Oh, yeah, the night vision.
night vision. Or, yeah, I guess it's night vision of a sort. It also highlights your targets of interest. I just got a double kill with one shot.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Xbox, record that. Wow, I am stuffed up. Okay, so anyway, yeah, a lot of stuff going on today. We had initially, I'm going to say, what was it? Last week and then the week before, we had the trucker convoy that was protesting in Ottawa. They had pretty much clogged up all the roads into the city, in the city itself, leading out of the city. They had really taken to task the nation's government, showing their displeasure over mask mandates, vaccine mandates. A lot of the people, their reason for being there and being outraged is aligned with a lot of Americans, and that is, look, we support vaccines, but we are not in support of a vaccine mandate. You're not going to violate my conscience by forcing me to get something and put something that's potentially harmful into my body.
Yep.
So that was largely what all the protests boiled down to. And you had the just wretched dictator that Justin Trudeau is. He invokes this emergency powers initiative that was last used when I was born and when you were born back in the year 1988. And it more or less gave him authority to do just about anything at a moment's notice with no one else's consent. Nobody inside Canadian government, they did, even if they were opposed to it, he didn't require anybody's go-ahead. He could just do what he wanted. And so there was, at that time, there was around 200 protesters that had been arrested. I'm sure you saw on TV people, the cops started getting very draconian inside that area. They were grabbing people were getting beaten on. You had people also, a few of them.
Oh, do we have to get into a Banshee?
Yeah, you gotta hop into Banshee. Mickey's gonna take us somewhere. We're his escorts for the night. We don't kiss on the mouth though, so Mickey's not getting lucky, save for getting out of here with his life. Anyway, though, they where was it going? So the cops even ended up. I don't know if they were trying to kill anybody. I doubt they were trying to kill anybody, but they did trample a few people with their horses. Unfortunately, they were,
that old lady.
Yeah, they were arresting people, just left, right, and center. I saw a video, actually. There was a cafe owner who was feeding everybody around. And when they say feeding, I'm assuming that the guy and his wife from their little cafe that they owned, they were feeding them just out of their own reserves. I don't think that they were charging anybody for their meals who were coming into town. It seems like they were just taking care of the convoy, and they were taking care of passersby. Well, they were surrounded by cops who claimed that they were there to do a inspection, like a health inspection. But it was on a Saturday. And I do know that certain health inspections do take place on a Saturday. Ian has my brother Ian, who is a health inspector in Champaign-Urbana, in Illinois. He actually does health inspections. But on Saturdays, I've noticed that he often will go to the farmers markets or to the flea markets, and he'll do inspections on food trucks. So I don't know if they carry out routine inspections of businesses on the weekends. I would imagine they would, but some people suggested that, they don't even carry these out on Saturdays, so why in the blazes would, number one, there be a scheduled inspection of this family's cafe, but also, why would the cops be there doing the inspection? Because they are not certified, nor are they licensed.
That's really weird
to carry out.
That they would do that.
Yeah, it was dumb. The whole thing was just a stupid ploy. Oh shoot! There I go, not remembering the buttons again. I'll clear myself. Just drop myself clear out of my chair. So anyway, they were surrounding this couple's cafe, peering into the windows, banging on the windows, threatening to shatter the windows and come in and do whatever. And more or less, they were just trying to stop them from taking care of the convoy, because the cops in the area and Trudeau's dictatorship was recognizing anybody at that time who was helping the convoy or supporting them as being a part of essentially a terrorist collective. So lots of people arrested. Thankfully, Trudeau has relinquished his emergency powers that he did have. But what was really, really disgusting, I know that you heard about GoFundMe stealing around $9 million that had
do I have to just...
Yeah, I think you just gotta land right there and go in. But they stole around $9 million, a little over, that had been raised for the truckers, and then they were going to just distribute those funds to charities that they saw value in, which is theft, absolutely. And so people were starting to put in their requests to have their funds resubmitted back to them, which would in effect end up costing GoFundMe even more. So GoFundMe refunded everything, because otherwise they were going to have a legal battle on their hands. But they also broke faith with all of their users, and anybody in their right mind, or anybody who has any kind of self-respect, would never and should never ever use GoFundMe again, because they have shown that they are not a platform that has any tolerance for a freedom of speech or a freedom of conscience. And if they're willing to steal funds from a group of individuals who are exercising a God-given right to speak freely, then that shows that they are more tyrannical in their practice and in their thoughts and in their functions than they probably ever wanted anybody to know. In my mind, they're no better than Trudeau in their actions of stealing all that money from people and making it so that people could not crowdfund for the truckers on their platform.
Yeah, what Trudeau did was absolutely disgusting.
Trudeau is a tyrant. He is an absolute tyrant now, and he is a dictator. He's viewed as quite weak by a lot of people inside the political sphere who have to engage with him, because the guy is a giant pussy.
Third burglar?
He is a giant pussy. He is a wretch of a human being, and he is a wicked, evil person. Well, there was some speculation going around that this was potentially Trudeau's way of showing just how tough he can be by flexing all this power. But at this point, it's really too little too late, because he's still a whiny little milksop. Who
wasn't there someone else too who, technically speaking, he's what the truckers kind of wanted to do was, like, someone else actually had the power to do that. Like, wasn't there someone named Frost something?
I don't know. I'm not sure on that.
Because I've seen people like talk about how, like, oh, like what you guys are asking, like Trudeau's really not the person to be going at, like, not going after, but like he doesn't have the power that you want him to do. Like it's someone else.
Now that I had not heard. What I have heard though is that some of the restrictions have been lifted and indeed lessened since the truckers actually went out there and started raising hell, as it were. So yeah. Trudeau was trying to play this thing off as though these people were terrorists. He called them a fringe minority. He played them off as white supremacists. Said terrible, terrible things about these people who were there, and they were not burning things. They were not trying to kill people like the BLM rioters and like the Antifa rioters were. They were peacefully and civilly defying their government by clogging up the roads and not moving when they were told to move. And for that...
Supposed to be in here?
Yeah, I think we have to get this door open. For that, they were treated like war criminals. People who were trying to get gasoline for them together were refused to be allowed to even have the gas. It was either confiscated, or people who tried to provide gasoline, if they were a trucker, either themselves or anybody who tried to provide it to them, they would be arrested and or fined. It was just a total mess. And so now, hopefully things are getting back to some semblance of normality there. I think Trudeau has definitely broken a lot of trust with just about everybody. The world sees him for what he is, and anybody who isn't given over to the same kind of mindset that, say, someone like Fidel Castro might have had when him and Trudeau's mom were busy consummating whatever relationship they had to create him, the scourge of Canada.
We're not Canadians.
Definitely not Canadians.
This shit autoplayed, and it's fun woke talk. Listen to it again. A Needler's Trap House. Oh god, you fucks are Canadian. Good luck.
Oh no, we are not Canadian.
Oh no, we are USA, baby.
Yep. I'm as USA as the Irish.
Hey, Angron. Trudeau is basically a tin penny tyrant.
Yeah, he's a little kid inside a sandbox who's trying to...
Do we have to go back like over to them?
They're
sure. Just hovering over there.
I don't know. It feels like
I'm gonna go over.
That we got to do. I thought we had to just get the door open. Maybe we just got to go find them. I think there's somebody that we need to kill. Anyway, though, this was what also was really, really gross, is that Trudeau, he had the bank accounts of Canadians seized.
Oh, it was any bank account, really. Like, if you were found...
If you donated,
yeah. Fucked up, man.
And you lived in Canada, he got the banks to seize and freeze their accounts. There was even threats that they were going to kill protesters' pets. Anybody who wasn't at home, they were going to go take their pets to a shelter of sorts, keep them somewhat comfortable for, I guess, the allotted time that it would take to normally, I guess, that would end up having to run out for where the heck are we supposed to go? This is weird. Keep them for the week or so that the shelter would allow, and then
voting done.
Okay, if the people didn't come back for their pets or didn't stop protesting, as it were, then they were going to deal with their pets, i.e. euthanize them.
Sounds like a soy boy's certain threat
Soy boy's wet dream
to his ex-wife. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna chop up your dog.
Chop your dogs up and beat them to the neighbor kids in a chili, like Scott Tinnerman. What is going on?
That it loaded. Are they coming in?
I don't know. There's a bad guy somewhere. I see something floating. Do we just need to reload this? I don't even know. This is strange.
Gay.
But yeah, so that was
boy.
a no good.
Supposedly anyone outside of Canada who donated and now de facto banned from entering.
Yeah,
Of course they would do something like that.
but like
a bunch of commie.
effectively, the banks that were seized and froze these people's accounts or allowed these accounts to be frozen, that's about 20% of the population. And those banks broke trust with all of those people. Every single one of them. I can't imagine that anybody in good conscience would bother trying to ever keep their money within those banks ever again. And I don't blame them. You're going to see probably a lot of smaller local banks inside their communities end up getting the money coming their way, as opposed to any of the bigger banks that were swayed by Trudeau. Or
Should we just reload?
Yeah,
this?
let's just reload.
Okay,
this
I have
section.
no idea what the.
Just go to the last checkpoint. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay.
Credit unions and cash are the future.
Yeah, credit.
Well, if we, at least in America, if the dollar gets put back to what it's actually worth, cash might mean something again. Because doesn't the dollar not like, what is it, like a certain amount of percentage less than what it should be worth?
Oh yeah, inflation is at a 40-year high right now. We're really, really in bad shape with regards to the worth of our currency. The gold standard that it used to be is no longer existent anymore, unfortunately, which really, really sucks.
Yeah.
Wait, where's that ghost at? I wonder if this is the guy I didn't kill. Were we supposed to kill a ghost? I thought we were just supposed to blow this up. Maybe? Maybe?
I just got into a banshee.
Alright.
See what happens.
Well,
We will see what happens.
so, yeah. There's that whole mess. Anyway, jumping ahead here, the CDC's been taking some heat because of their guidance on school masking.
Funny of the CDC.
Well, it's remained unchanged all this time.
Well, there was actually just a release saying that they're lessening the masks restrictions by 70%.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It shows
Because of Russia and Ukraine. Now, I retweeted a thing that said, and just like that, COVID is gone.
Dude, it's
gonna be.
Yeah.
COVID, no one's gonna care about COVID anymore.
Oh no, it's just the next thing to focus on, and it shouldn't surprise any of us that this is how
Yeah.
it's going. Okay, what is our objective?
Well, we opened up a one door.
Yeah, but
For here.
oh no,
I guess we're.
I have that. Maybe? I don't know. This is
I missed the
into
latch.
the drink.
Into the depths we
But
plunger.
yeah, and so we also saw that they withheld a lot of COVID
brother.
data. That's what's been coming out as of late. And I don't know if you saw this, but allegedly they discovered a DNA sequence within the coronavirus that is actually a DNA sequence that was patented by Moderna
Of course. That's why they pushed Moderna.
a while ago. This is allegedly going back a number of months, if not years. I think it was 3 years ago that Moderna had actually patented this DNA sequence, and they discover it inside the virus, allegedly. So it's seeming more and more like this was definitely a plandemic than it was a just.
I could have told you that easily.
Yeah, and I think given the nature of what all we know right now, for anybody to suggest that this wasn't concocted in the lab. They're not playing with a full deck. We're supposed to go in here? Maybe in this one?
Where we were, that's where we were before. So I guess we're just supposed to open up the doors and destroy those things.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I am so confused as to why that door isn't open, why we can't get it open. Is this game glitched?
Some things.
Why aren't these guys moving? But so there's a whole new set of insanity there. I'm hoping that some of these people are going to be brought before a tribunal, because this is deserved of some serious heat. Absolutely is. And some people need to be locked away for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Given the lockdowns that we've had, plus the loss of life that we've had, people suffering from permanent physical disability now from the effects of the vaccine and the virus, often both in conjunction. It really is it's really despicable that so much of this has gone on. But in the middle of the last couple of weeks, we had the Winter Olympics in China. Did you catch any of the Beijing games?
Nope.
No.
Why would I?
You didn't watch any of them fun, totally not, communist partied up games. You didn't pop by and watch any of those?
Nope.
I saw that.
Why would I? Why would I care?
I saw that we had two.
Did we actually win anything?
We did win some medals. We didn't come out like we normally did. There was a lot of tomfoolery going on at the Olympics. Nancy Pelosi actually recommended to our guys and gals that we not say anything political or politically derisive against the CCP. Just
Eat
because
a bag of dicks.
Yeah, just because they were worried that maybe something bad might happen. Like, I don't know, they're gonna
like a war.
Like they're gonna disappear the athletes. Okay, I hate this. I don't know what is going on.
You want to just start?
Dude, let's just open all the blocking doors. We've done it.
Obviously we haven't, because we're missing one.
Okay, restart it. Let's try this again. And Russia sent mobile crematorium to burn their dead. Wow, interesting. Oh yeah, so we'll get to that here in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But with the whole CCP madness and the really, really boycotted games that this year was, and in all honesty, anybody who doesn't support slave labor at the behest of communist dictatorships should have boycotted these games. I didn't watch them. I think we had a couple gals who were.
Did we restart it?
No, you
have
the power. We had a couple girls who were U.S. citizens who actually decided to compete for China.
Yeah, Angron just said that. You see the one girl who turned traitor for China, says censorship there isn't that bad, then gets censored.
Yeah, she's.
Yeah, wasn't that a runner? Or no, that was it's winter, so it was a snowboarder, right?
Yes, there was a snowboarder. She actually won a gold. I think she won actually 2 or 3 gold medals. And those are several gold medals that could have been actually counted for U.S. Instead, they were counted for China.
Oh yeah,
baby. I think I agree with Crowder. She should never be allowed to come back into the U.S. She should just have to make her home in China from here on out.
Stay over there, please.
Stay over there where you belong with the rest of the commie weirdos. And then the other girl who decided to compete for China as well, she ended up falling a bunch of times inside her ice skating performance and just had a miserable go.
Oh, I think that was the one I was thinking of, the ice skater.
Yeah, and I think she got 4th, I believe, overall. But yeah, it did not go so well for her. So I'd say there's a bit of divine justice there, if you will. But what was really interesting is I heard some talk going on about last time you had a boycott of an Olympic Games, and it would have been back in 1936, and that would have been Hitler's essentially. He was hosting the games, and they were hosting it in Germany, and it was you had you had a number of bad things that him and his cohorts had gotten into, and people were actually vocal about it. People were brave enough to be able to speak without being completely shut out and
murdered on the spot, pretty much.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people that didn't go compete at the games. I think it would have been, and it sucks because as the competitor, it sucks for the competitor, I think, the most, because you've been training in this sport your whole life. You've had a dream of going to the Olympics forever. Now it's realized, and then you have to go and represent your country. As tough as it is, I think countries in certain instances, this one included, should have number one, never allowed China to host the games because of their crimes against humanity, and possibly should have told their teams, hey, look, sorry, we're not going to go compete because we are not going to be party to the insanity that this dictatorship has wrought against the Uyghur Muslims who were packed onto trains, much like the Jewish people in the Holocaust. So yeah,
all the Baba libs here were cheering her once, then pretending she didn't exist when she lost, and the Chinese population turned on her hard.
Oh yeah.
What'd you expect? What did you expect,
dude? If you think those Chinese gals who compete inside the gymnastics and tumbling events inside the Summer Olympic Games aren't beaten into submission and put on some crazy drugs, then we don't live on the same planet. Because even for their own competitors, their own players, their own teammates, the CCP inflicts, I would have to say, some of the worst torture on their own people, and it really, really sucks that it's allowed to go on.
Good.
That is a wretched regime, and anybody who tries to defend Mao and his millions and millions and millions who died during his regime is no better than the CCP.
Sounds like a real jerk.
This Mao guy. I tell you what, Greg, suicide pact. You and I, let's kill Mao.
For a while.
Wow, man, I didn't know he was sick. That's a shame. But yeah, so you can actually go to if you're looking to try and aid people in China, because right now there is a bit of a silver lining, and I know we talked a couple weeks ago about wanting to try and find some of the silver linings in the grimness of the day. Well, one of the silver linings is that right now the fastest growing Christian church in the world is in China. They have...
Really?
Yes, it is.
Nice.
Very
good. Very good.
I believe they have... forget how many millions. It's a very, very large part of the population right now. But there is aid that's being sent out there to the Chinese because they are persecuted for their faith there. And you can go to www.chinaaid.org to support the efforts of China Aid in helping out the Chinese people, and also just provide general aid to the Chinese as well, who are being persecuted for their faith. What's
physical torture, ostracizing, and meal cutting is what happens to those who don't perform well, don't practice hard enough.
Pretty much.
So stupid. Tortured over an event that happens once a year.
It is once every 4 years. It's a shame culture that has devolved into tyrannical activity.
It's not about the physical compete, or it's not about the sport sport mentality of it.
Oh yeah, it's not about sportsmanship. It's just about winning at all costs.
I was thinking of the word, but I couldn't. That would be gay.
Okay. Where is our...
It's got to be this door over here.
I know it has to be, but I'm guessing there was something that we didn't kill or didn't hit. Because what opened the door before? Did they open the door?
I thought they did. But...
Okay. So we must just have to kill everything. All right, can do. So this is something that should be really telling about the CCP. Over there, and this also really aggravates me about the complacency of the fools that run a lot of the big tech here, is that China has disallowed, and they have banned from China's Apple Store any Bible-related apps from being able to be downloaded and used. They have completely banned the use of all of it. If you're caught using these apps, you can not only face prison time, but you can also face death, which is really, really gross. Since 1949, and this will be going to 2030, it's projected that there will be 224 million Christians living in China. It is the fastest growing church in the entire world.
Amazing.
I know. So little bit of.
That's interesting because isn't a lot of like demonic crap like happen over on the east too?
Yeah, in Asian countries, and then oddly enough in Russia as well. But if you look at
general Asian culture is rough and very grouped. Yeah.
Yep.
And that was because it was all about honor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of them view themselves as ants, really effectively ants. They're just part of a larger hive, part of a larger colony. They're
okay, checkpoint.
Finally, he came through. We must not. I don't remember having that dogfight out there.
Well, he was like frozen in the air back there. I think he glitched.
Yeah,
I think that's what happened. I think he got glitched.
Yeah. So there, like I said, there is a bit of a silver lining there. This in here, this is what also, this in here done really upset me now. Washington, it really, really sucks. So many of the blue states are totally just imploding on themselves with this not only critical race theory garbage, but this wokest trans ideology. So check this out. Some schools in Washington, the school teachers are being required not to let the parents know when their children decide that they want to change their gender, call themselves by a different name, or start to use pronouns that start to play the whole pronoun game, start to use preferred pronouns. The school is disallowing teachers from reaching out to parents and saying, "Hey, just so you know,
that's a
your daughter Jessica is wanting to call herself Steve, and she's trying to grow out a mustache."
That's a lawsuit just waiting to happen. Like, how does a school even have the authority to do that?
Oh yeah,
I don't get that at all. No, because back with my folks who are both teachers, I mean, they would come home and complain about how based. They would come home and complain about, hey Stuart, they would come home and complain about how they were so limited and they had to do X, Y, Z.
Dude, yeah. So the school.
I mean, really, in that case, then it's really the administration.
Yeah,
who's behind it, not necessarily. Some teachers, yes, but
yeah, the administration
for sure.
In this issue is really, really hampering and hindering the teachers. It's bananas what's going on there presently. There was actually one of the teachers who had called in this whole issue, and she was crying because she felt so powerless to try and help with her students. And a lot of what you see right now, this whole trans movement, where there was some numbers that came out a few months ago, and it was stating that more than 50% of kids currently in high school were considering themselves to be trans or part of the LGBT community. And I heard some figures saying that it was closer to 80%. I heard more close to accurate was 60%.
And I feel a lot of that too is a fad.
It is.
Like, they just see it as a fad.
It's the new thing to fit in with. I'm
wondering if a lot of it comes out of like fear, where it's like, if you don't support, X, Y, Z.
It's FOMO, fear of missing out, fear of not being accepted.
FOMO? Yeah. Did you just make that up, or is that an actual thing?
No, little kids get that when they get told that they got to go to bed, but they can hear the parents still watching the movie in the other room. They freak out. Yeah, it is that thing, because I remember.
Let's see.
I remember being back in school. The cliques. You remember how the cliques were?
Oh yeah, you got your athletes, your jocks, your nerds, your theater people, your choir people.
Some people want to be a part of the group so badly that they will do anything.
I will hack off my dick right now.
Including debase themselves entirely just to be a part of whatever it is. And unfortunately, younger teenage girls
I just got launched.
Oh man, I did too. They're not immune to it. It's why the anime convention culture can be so corrosive to people's souls, and a lot of that gets propagated there.
That'll be a good transition into another subject.
Oh,
but finish your thought first.
Yeah. So,
well, actually, Engron says Asian culture equals the group above all. Western culture equals the individual above all. Well, real Western culture. But then again, Korea and Japan aren't experiencing woke mobs and CRT TV, which I
wouldn't exactly say Western culture really pushes individual above all, because that wouldn't serve our culture. We'd be having to bend the knee to every single person's whim, which you see happening on the DNC. I think real Western culture is value the
demoralization. Here he was right.
Value the individual, at the same time recognize their value as an individual within the larger machine, and work as hard as you can for the betterment of your culture.
You know what, like, honestly is really funny, how like Japan and stuff is like really staying out of the whole woke thing, is that, and people make jokes about this, is that they're like they're, for lack of better terms, their culture can sometimes be pretty racy.
Oh, dude.
Like, they hate, like, in the past they hated the Chinese, you know, and stuff like that. I just think of Pai Mei from Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing. And
yep.
you know, and we're all trying to showcase equality and stuff like that. But it goes to what we say too, where it's like stereotypes are there for a reason. It's because it points out like the weird flaws of, like, in all honesty, like observation. Like, it points that out, and it's like, just laugh at it and move on. There's stereotypes for a reason.
Yes.
And
people have lost their senses of humor.
Yeah, just laugh at it, because it's like, wow, that is so weirdly hilarious. Whatever, time to move on, you know. But nope.
Yeah.
It's like we got to destroy all that. It's like, you grow stronger when you understand your flaws, or your just your way of, you know, the lifestyle you choose to be and all that stuff. It's just
black humor is built on that. If you've ever watched a black stand-up comedian, they sit there and they crack what amounts to just inside joke after inside joke amongst their own culture, and everybody's dying because they all have that crazy cousin or that crazy aunt that does what's being talked about. And usually the comic will go, "Nah, I know at least half of you here have that same guy. You know just what I'm talking about."
I can't stand that. I can't stand black humor.
Well, but the thing
is, like, that is though. But like what you said,
the point is that they're leaning on the stereotypes of the culture because it is funny. It is so funny.
But that's the thing though, is that when they do it amongst themselves, it's funny. It's a riot. It's the best thing ever. But you know, if a white person or someone else does it, then it's insensitive. It's this. It's that.
Yeah.
And who are you to the state stuff too? It's like, you know, the whole. And especially with comedy should be, it's, you know, the gloves are off. Like, it's, no one is like safe from the crosshairs of observation when it comes to comedy.
Oh yeah. Well, the court gesture was the only one who could actually be honest in front of the king, because
you're a douchebag.
Yeah,
king.
he was. Yeah,
you're a fat pile of shit.
It was like just roasting all the time, and he was the one who got to get in all the jibes and all the barbs, and it was expected. It was funny. Nobody else could dare have the kind of honesty that he had, but that was his job. He was there to bring levity to the situations.
FOMO transition, says Stuart.
Dude, hold on. What is it again? FOMO trans. Oh my.
He says FOMO and then trans in capitalizations.
Yep. So
maybe I should. The flawed man of God.
The flawed. Yeah. It The whole thing is really, really gross inside Washington right now. And here's what's also getting crazy about it. Dude, this guy won't die. He's invincible. I have an invincible brute. I can't kill him.
Where is he? Where did you die?
I died downstairs. Down them stairs.
There he is. This guy?
No, this is a different brute. He's got a hammer.
We got a hammer.
Beat me.
Get him.
Beat me to death with it. I beat you to death, Ed. Oh gosh.
That guy that just ran up?
He is unkillable. He's an invincible.
FOMO is fear of missing out. Yep. Yep. That is true.
But check this out. So the teachers that want to speak up about this, there's a lot of them that are pushing back because they are not cool with it, as they shouldn't be. Teachers are being threatened upon pain of reprimands, possibly leading up to being fired or let go of their positions if they don't comply with the board's, the administration's wishes in keeping this information from parents. And they were giving scenarios.
Well, it sounds like they did a terrible job if people are pointing out that this is what they're being told.
Well, yeah, and the girl who actually was the mole, if you will, or the whistleblower, she was sobbing when she actually broke the story about this whole issue. And they were giving nightmare scenarios in which you would have maybe a gal, she goes to school, and at school she gets there, she changes into boys' clothes, she starts having everybody call her Ted. Then before she gets home, she changes back into her regular girl clothes and goes on just being her normal self with her family, but living this altered life. And
it's insane. That's so insane.
It is. It's completely insane. And the teachers, so many of them are encouraging it. And it's sadistic because that's somebody else's kid. That is not your job.
Yeah, that is not your responsibility.
It's like you're there to teach what has been agreed upon and what has been agreed upon to be acceptable inside the curriculum. No more, no less. It is not your job to go and pipe an ideology that you decided you wanted to cleave to back when you were a college co-ed just experimenting, and one of those weird rubbing two sticks together or rubbing two bushes together nights stuck. You don't get to now impose that on somebody else's children. Come on.
We have to like shoot this guy in the head. Is that what we have to do?
I don't even know. He's invincible. I don't know how.
I knocked his helmet off.
Oh my gosh! He is slain. He is deadeth. So
me as a teacher, reprimand me hard, Daddy. Admin will never want to speak with me again. Imagine calling a mental illness insane, you bigots.
Dude, right?
Dude, we're the biggest bigots around.
Worst person I know. Hey, open the mental facilities back up.
Actually, I know a bigger bigot.
Some people.
He has a huge honking nose, and I hear he's like High Plains grifter. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, hangs out with guys named Drexel. Yeah.
Dude, funny enough, like here in
there's two enemies
in Texas, I found a Drexel Street and a Drexel Road.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude,
I giggled.
Did you snap photos of them?
I did.
Let me take this.
And that was it. No, I did send one.
That was a good story.
I did send one to. I think I uploaded it on Twitter.
We're gonna blow these things up.
No, there's an open the door.
So then, obviously, larger story from yesterday, and for those who this is largely anime community related. Nothing libelous or slanderous here being leveled. But we
don't have to. We don't have to give disclaimers. They should know.
Yeah. We're going to report on what took place. So I guess before we get into that, we'll address the current catastrophe at hand, which is the Russia-Ukraine conflict right now.
Yes. Unless
you've been living under a rock, you are well aware at this point that
sometimes is the better choice.
Well, yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, suffice it to say, there's no way that anybody could right now be unaware of what's going on in Ukraine right now. Russia decided to invade early Thursday morning. It has been a rough 24 hours plus for the people of Ukraine.
I agree, Angron.
But they have been fighting back tooth and nail, and they have been making the Russian soldiers eat it every single inch that they fight for. There was a figure last night before I went to bed that for every one Ukrainian soldier or Ukrainian just fighter in general, because a lot of the civilians were outfitted with weapons as well and were fighting right alongside the actual nation soldiers. But for every one of Ukraine's forces that were lost, it was 7 Russians were killed. So they were holding out like mad last night. And there was a guy who was flying, I forget the name of the plane that he was flying, But this dude, they're calling him the Ghost of Kiev. This guy, he took down in one evening, the numbers, I've heard a couple different numbers. I think the one that people are certain of now is that he took down 6 Russian planes in a single evening.
Nice.
And he became an ace in a day. Now, for those who don't know what an ace pilot is, or an ace fighter pilot is somebody who has gotten 5 or more confirmed kills in the air. An ace in a day, which is incredibly hard to pull off,
be insane.
because you're having to dogfight these fights most of the time. That means
Ghost
you took
of
down.
Kavai. What's up? What'd you say about turning something down?
Oh no! So nailing 5 just spread out. That's already a feat. There was a really amazing soldier back during World War II who had 26 confirmed kills by the end of it, and then you have
Buck Yeager.
You have the German, the Red Baron, and he had just a ton of kills as well. But this guy, to take down 5 pilots, let alone 6 in a single evening, to become an ace in a day, that is an incredible feat. And we have no idea how many lives that he's potentially saved by bringing down those planes. So I maintain people keep praying for Ukraine, keep praying for those people, because they are putting up one hell of a fight, and they are not going quietly into that night. Like I said before, the figure last night before I went to bed was for every 1 Ukrainian who died, 7 Russians were killed. And they have continued sticking it to them. There was, I guess, a Russian vessel. There were I think it was 13 Ukrainian officers that were on a post on Snake Island when a Russian vessel out at sea essentially told them that they needed to surrender or suffer the consequences. And the response back from those who were guarding Snake Island was, "Fuck you." And the Russians opened up.
I think Zelensky is serious about fighting to the death. Probably. Zelensky, the main guy from Ukraine.
I honestly I don't know his name.
I don't know,
but I do know that the Ukrainian president and his VP.
Yeah, didn't he say, "I expect not to live in the morning" or something?
Well, they're
"I'm
both on the
expecting
front
to-"
lines fighting right alongside soldiers themselves.
Yikes.
Like
It's insane.
they were like, yeah, we're
What a baller.
we're staying
What
here
a
to
bunch of
fight.
ballers.
Well, and some of the other information that came out
yourself, Russian ship.
when the news broke that Russia was invading Ukraine, well, they sent the women and children away. Good on them. And there was a request that, hey, we have, knowing that people knew that, hey, we have our military, but any able-bodied man who can stay, please stay and fight. And the president came out and said, if you are willing to stay and fight for us, I'll give you whatever weapon you want to fight with. We'll outfit you with whatever you need to fight. So you got people there, just regular civvies, that have taken up rifles and pistols, grenades, everything in between, and are fighting back. They were making their own Molotov cocktails, throwing them at the Russians. They took down over 10 tanks and 30 other armored vehicles.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the numbers are still climbing. Ukraine is putting up an incredible fight right now, and they're being aided by Poland. Poland took in a number of the escapees, the people that what's the word? The refugees. Yeah, Poland took in a number of the refugees, and when they got there, they were immediately taken care of, given food, medical treatment if they needed it, shelter. And there's talk now that Britain has actually been getting guns to. I believe it's Britain has been getting guns and weaponry to people inside Ukraine. They had, I forget the name of these 2 weapons that they sent them, or at least the picture I saw had a couple of these weapons. All I know is that it was discussed what they were, and then the caption said "Welcome to Hell," and it was featuring these 2 weapons. So I don't know what they do. I don't know. Maybe they fire an EMP magma blast that vaporizes testicles. I'm not quite sure.
The gut check to see how firm he is as a leader and not just a politician. Zelensky is the president. Okay, him, the mayor of Kyiv, or how do you pronounce that? Kyiv.
Kiev. The Russians pronounce it as Kiev. but
Kiev.
it's pronounced Kiev.
Former world champion boxer and kickboxer, their bodyguard, and the mayor's brother, who's also a champ fighter, all took up arms.
Yep.
Nice. Which hilarious, because I retweeted or I quoted a Occupy Democrat tweet where they were like breaking news, like, and pretty much stated that, like, you know, good job, all the civilians are getting or are being given you know, assault rifles. And it's just like, oh, that's cute coming from people
who yell gun control every single time one of their psychos blows up a school.
I was just like, oh, now you're pro-gun. That's hilarious. You know,
they are whatever they need to be.
I've said
as
it,
long as it suits the mainstream talking point.
I think I said it in a couple tweets recently, and I'll say it again. These people construct these people don't care, and that the only thing they care about is their social image.
Yep.
Which is to make sure that they are in the light of projecting their so-called correct truth, or the right
projecting
truth.
their virtue, you know, pretending to care when they really don't. Like all this nonsense where you see the DNC that is trying so hard to act so woke and get on board with all this trans activism. They don't give a damn about the trans community. All they're hoping for is to secure voters through emotions solely, and they're hoping also, if the Georgia Guidestones have anything to say about it, they're hoping that these people will undergo hormone therapy to sterilize themselves, so it will reduce our surplus population. That way, it saves them the hassle.
Mean tweets.
That way, it saves them the hassle of having to kill them themselves outright. People will literally breed themselves out of the gene pool. It's like, okay, yeah, we support gay rights, and we support the LGBT, and let's trans everybody. Okay. Cool. You want all the rights you have? Say we give you all the rights. You decide, yeah, well, let's all be trans. Let's all be gay. After about one generation, those people are no longer in existence because they have not bred to keep the replacement numbers up, and the ideology dies out with them. So it's like, yeah, you want to go chemically castrate yourself?
Well, again,
be my guest. Just be of legal age to make the decision. Go ahead.
No, I agree. Like, the whole idea is like, hey, if you're of the age of understanding and stuff like that, then you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, one is don't fuck around with the kids.
Yep. Don't.
And two, don't demand that people get involved in your world.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, the people. Like, there are people out there who will support you. So it still baffles me on how they waste their time with the people who are never going to change their mind, as opposed to just finding the group that they'll be comfortable with and then just continuing.
Count your losses, count your blessings.
The tanky left hates Ukraine because of Azov unit. Whistleblower from the first impeachment stuff was on NBC talking about how this is all Trump's fault. Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Of course it is.
And
he and Tucker and blah, 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 we're all going to get burned over this.
You know what's really stupid, too, is you have all these people right now doing this, well, if he was still in office, this would have happened, or this would have happened. Well, the fact of the matter is, that's irrelevant because he's not in office, and this bad thing did happen. It happened on President Biden's watch. And what's really, really retarded is everything leading up to this, including Biden's little speech the other day, where they're talking about moving troops closer to that border, American troops, and then they're pulling away American troops from our southern border to, I guess, get in position to help their NATO allies overseas. He more or less has been bent over backwards by Vladimir Putin at every single turn, even going as far as to give him 16 different sites that they could not hit for a cyber attack, and saying, hey, these are 6 areas that are off limits, more or less saying, hey, these are our most important things that go ahead and attack them now because I'm retarded, and going even beyond that. He decides, oh, well, we're going to go ahead and put sanctions on Russia for having invaded Ukraine. Yep. Okay, You put sanctions on them. You're going to try and make it harder for them and for their elites to essentially be able to do business. Okay, the Nord Stream pipeline is shut down. Trump shut that down. And it's been supported, the shutdown of it, by this current administration. However, our Keystone pipeline is also shut down, which now that gas is having to be transported on trains that are owned by somebody who has the government in their pocket. It's owned by a corporate fat cat, because the technocracy is such a real and present evil here in the U.S. So he places these sanctions on them, and Putin more or less is like, yeah, oh wait, what did Biden say? I didn't watch the speech. Who gives a shit? We're invading anyway. As if the sanctions are gonna stop somebody who has already proven themselves to be a tyrannical monster by starting a war with a country under the pretense that they were going in to stage and then act upon a self-defense mission, or just a defense what's the words used, a defensive move. Putin is still claiming that this is supposed to be a defensive move. Joe Biden then comes back out because obviously, the sanctions didn't work. It didn't deter anybody, because that's cheap talk versus actual action, which we're seeing Putin do. We're seeing the Ukrainians have to deal with. Mm-hmm. So Joe Biden then comes out today and says, no one expected the sanctions to prevent anything.
Then why do them?
Yeah. So the question, it begs the question. Then why in God's name would you level the sanctions if you knew all it was going to do was kick the bear and piss him off further, and he was still not going to acquiesce and do what you were hoping he would do? Unless they were hoping that this would actually come to full-fledged war, which at this point I wouldn't rule that out, because we've seen that the leftist mentality that is currently running most of our governmental bodies is absolutely insane. So keep going, Ghost of Kyiv, and take down as many of them as you possibly can.
It's a straw man argument and deflection from Dementia Joe's screw-ups and ineptitude. The Toker's Twitter feed is all you need to read on the conflict.
Yeah. You know what's really, really sad is it's clear that Joe Biden is a man suffering with terrible, terrible dementia. He has slipped so far into senility that when you watch him walking off certain areas, he's having to be led by the hand. His wife the other day had to lead him off the stage, and he looked like a crippled, old, tottering man, because that's what he is. His mind is no longer there like it used to be. Now, anybody who doesn't recognize that Joe Biden is a puppet at this point is blind, or is in denial, or both. But this administration that's propped up behind him is pushing so much crazy, hurtful policy that I know a majority of it he would never agree to on his own. Because for a while there, he wasn't nearly as far left in action as he is acting now. And so it makes me wonder, what kind of dirt do they have on Joe? I don't know how many times he was on the Lolita Express, that airplane that flew to Epstein's pedophile island. I don't know how many times he was on Epstein Island, but I can only imagine that they must have a photo album of him nailing minors while wearing a Batman costume. And they're just threatening, hey, we'll destroy your livelihood, we'll tarnish everybody that you know's name, we'll ruin your image to your grandchildren should you not play ball with us. Because to have him sign over 40 emergency authorizations, what are those called? Sign over 40 executive documents to that more or less they override.
Like right in the beginning.
Yeah. What are those called?
Executive orders?
Yeah, to sign over 40 executive orders. For them to push him to do that, and Trump signed, 2, 3 at the most? They must have some serious damning dirt on him, and he's forced to play along right now. So I don't know if they jab him with an EpiPen or they load him up with cocaine before he gets out for some of his speeches where he isn't having to clench his hands just to stay rooted to reality, or what. But they are putting him out there and forcing him to say everything and do everything that they want him to say and they want him to do. And it's elder abuse.
Flawed Man of God says, I think he just wanted to be president so bad that he would say anything to get there. He's been trying to get there for 20 years or more. He sold his soul for this. Oh, definitely there's some demonic crap happening behind it, for sure.
Definitely.
Like, there's nothing about this. Like,
yeah, he definitely gave a lot of his soul
I would
away
probably... I think, obviously, the Bible says it's going to get a lot worse. It's going to get worse, and then it's going to get into a false good, because that's when, you know, the Antichrist comes and unites the world together under a false pretense, where literal power, like unscientific power, is going to come down. Like, he will call fire from the sky, and people are going to fall for it. But yeah, no, like, it's sad because he's not there anymore. Like, mentally,
he's left the building.
He's left the building, but it's also demonic crap being pulled into it too that he's a part of. So he's just a husk of a person.
Yeah, he is.
That not only probably something beyond dementia.
Yeah,
like I guarantee you.
The
Torah is too black-pilled and nihilistic. It's basically FTW, burn it all down like he did with COVID.
What was that?
Medokur, METOQ or KUR. Medokur is too black-pilled and nihilistic. It's basically FTW, burn it all down like he did with COVID.
Yeah, they're playing politics with people's lives out there, and we've seen the very real and damning repercussions of that over the last 3 years, with how many people lost their lives to COVID and how many people now are suffering with terrible, terrible, debilitating health issues due to the vaccine.
Oh, Medicare. That's how you pronounce
it. Medicare. Yeah, it's really, really...
My grammar... Good.
I speak English.
I speak English.
It's the Pepsi good. But yeah, so to reiterate, we know that Joe Biden is a puppet. He is clearly not there anymore, and him being trotted out over and over and over like this, again, they have to have some kind of dirt on him. They have to have something that is so heinous to keep him playing along, because I can't imagine that he would have signed that many documents, that many executive orders, and made such dramatic changes as he has been unless he was being forced to do so. Now, I'm sure he would have made a number of changes that would have upset the balance. I'm sure he would have made a number of decisions and probably done a couple of executive orders that would have walked back a lot of the good that Trump did during his administration, but I don't think it would be near the scale that we're seeing right now.
Well, I guess transitioning off of Russia and Ukraine, let's
get into this.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that would be a certain voice actress.
Yes. So, for those who don't know, and I'm assuming that most people watching this are quite aware of the crazy world that is anime fandom. There is an actress, her name is Amanda Winley. She's famous, at least the role that I know her best for is the role of Rei Ayanami in the series Evangelion.
I believe she was also Miss Deep in a Read or Die.
Okay.
The OVAs.
Cool. And then,
that's actually the only other one I know.
Yeah, and then I guess a litany of other characters throughout her very long career. Well, yesterday, by the time everybody woke up yesterday morning, we were
being informed of what's happening.
Yeah, we were being informed of the fact that there was an invasion starting, that you were starting to hear the rumblings of war. And so she puts out this tweet. And the initial tweet that she put out, it's disgusting. She said, "This is as Putin is he's already invaded Ukraine." She says, in one way, Putin did us a favor. Historically, every president running for re-election during war has won." People gave her some flack for that, obviously. And then below she said, fuck you, I'm serious. Anything that keeps Trump out of the White House, I embrace. Whiny bitches clutching their pearls and trying to police my tone will be blocked. Then that was where I had to step in, and I said words to the effect of, it's unconscionable that you could suggest that dramatic loss of life by the thousands is in any way preferable than having President Trump in office. It stands to reason that you would rather have innocent people slaughtered by the thousands than not have your boy behind the podium. And that's really what she was saying in a nutshell. The response that...
Again, these are the people that would, like, definitely, like, be drinking baby's blood if they were told that it would keep their people in power, or they would give them power.
Yeah, and she has since made an apology, which we'll get to in a little bit here. But I had said...
apology.
What I had said was, I had pinned the tweet, and I said, it's unconscionable that Amanda Wynn Lee could suggest that tragic loss of life by the thousands at the hands of a sadistic Russian regime is acceptable, just so long as it keeps Trump, likely not to run again, out of office, and instead the senile old Joe Biden in office. I tagged below it, I tagged the second tweet, the fuck you, I'm serious one. I said, this is disgusting beyond reason, and you should be ashamed of yourself, Amanda, for letting political derision and your own personal hang-ups compel you to emotionally post such wretched filth into the aether. You are a fool. And indeed, that was a very foolish thing to do, and she is a fool for having done that. Now, there's more to the story, as people started to understandably dogpile on her for that. And
yes, Yellow Flash. Angron says, yeah, Yellow Flash and Quartering did videos on her hot takes and put her on blast.
Yeah, so this is where I found it to be really unacceptable, and I called her out on this. But the tweet that she put up shortly thereafter, saying that she's going to start blocking people, was, if Trump gets back in office, we'll have the casualties from war and the genocide of the LGBTQIA people. I'm not fucking kidding. As if to say that she thinks that Trump is going to organize a genocide against people who swing differently than himself.
It didn't happen once.
And
that's not going to happen again.
That
was the whole argument way back in the day.
Yeah,
too.
and it actually belies the point, because the entire point of the whole thing, which why I came out hot against her, and which is why a lot of people came out hot against what she was saying, was because she was seeming to say, hey, it's okay that we have mass genocide so long as Biden stays in office and Trump doesn't get to go back in office. But yet, here she is, inside this other tweet, trying to change the perspective by saying, oh, well, if Trump was in office, then not only would we have the genocide of war, but we'd have the genocide of the LGBT community on his hands as well. It's like, no, don't miss the forest for the trees. The entire reason that we're having this heat towards you right now is because of what you said about death by the thousands, or implied death by the thousands, being acceptable. The LGBTQ has nothing to do with the conflict going on in Russia. And so what I said in response to that, after I saw how it had been set upon by some of our other heroes out there who are fighting for real justice, I said, where did I say it? Where did I put it? I had said, I'll read the other couple I wrote. Shortly after I had written that one where I had said, you're a fool, I said, 2 children are dead. This is back yesterday, earlier in the day. I said, 2 children are dead and 4 are injured in Ukraine. That we know of. And people want to downplay the tragedy of the situation because of dedication to party lines. I maintain, if you want to keep your heroes, then don't follow them on social media. Amanda Wynn Lee makes this clear. After that, my last one for that little time was, there was a dramatic difference between constantly vulgarly bitching about literally everything that people find dissatisfactory in the world and their lives, almost the entire mainstream VO community, and holding your resolve to speak pointedly and clearly. Think before you type. Well, after that one post about her trying to say, look, we'd have the genocide of the war plus the genocide of the LGBT on our hands as well. I came back and I said, I said the inanity of Amanda Wynn Lee trying to shift the focus from her initial support of politically motivated genocide to an issue of LGBT rights and dissatisfaction with the former president of the United States is a pathetic attempt at deflection, which indeed it is. I said the catastrophe in Ukraine has nothing to do with the LGBT.
I thought you already stated that.
Well, I said that outright, but this is what I actually said inside the tweet. So, after that, I don't want to say that I extended an olive branch, but I added one final comment below that, and I said to it, I said, if you're reading this, Amanda Wynn Lee, then I encourage you to get off social media for a while and let the fire die down. Don't feed the trolls by trying to defend indefensible ideals. You will only make things worse. You messed up, but redemption is not out of reach. Be well.
And of course, once she apologizes, which she did, we'll hold it over their head, like they do.
Yeah, well, and that, it's not my intent to do that.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just joking.
We're just screwing around.
I'm wrestling, but I do believe in Bugs Bunny's fight fire with fire.
Yeah, and to a degree, you have to.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, but obvious. Well, I guess since I brought up her apology, because she
actually, I have the apology too.
Well,
no, I don't.
Well, in the end, it actually is not an apology, because when you end it with blah 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 blah, blah 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 blah, I don't give a fuck, and she abbreviated it that way, you're not apologizing. Yeah. Because you're just trying to save face. And that's why I saved this comment way back, Angron, to when you said, since Eric brought it up, Anime Con's biggest issue is it went mainstream and the normies and wokes infiltrated it. Yep. They used to be really wild fun.
It did.
Bring that back around, and that's something you stated on Nick, and you were kind of my mouthpiece with that too, is that these, again, and it just proves my point further of what she brought about the LGBTQ community. Again, these people infiltrated it became mainstream. They infiltrated it. They brought their beliefs and politics into it, and they brought a community that's, for lack of better terms, a niche. And they said this is what the community was always about from the very beginning. It's like, no. First of all, the anime community is a niche into of itself. Yep. The LGBTQ community of anime is a niche within a niche.
Yep.
And I'm so
it's a subgenre.
Yeah, it's a subgenre. And I am so tired of this lie being projected that, well, this is what it was always about. No, it wasn't. No. Stop lying. You know damn well it wasn't, because you could look at any 90s anime and realize that no one gave a crap about that. Yeah. And that's why people loved 90s and early anime. It's because the story is so damn good, because it's not worried about...
It was just about telling the story well.
Yeah. Her mother drank while pregnant, huh? Ouch. Love it. And LGBTQ... Stuart says, we'll have plenty to do with it once we send our military into Ukraine. Very true.
Right?
Yeah. This is what they wanted, right? They wanted
this man's
equality.
army. No, don't ask, don't tell. You go on, get out there.
Get ready
let's send all our gay patriots there. They can have fun fighting for the cause. The apology that she did put up, and I'll accept at least the apology-esque thing that she did put. But she said initially, and she said,
I will not.
That's fine. You don't have to. She said, okay, y'all, I fucked up. I never should have used the word embraced. It was thoughtless of me. After all the shit going on in Texas with trans kids, I was angry. My bad. Forgive me or don't. I don't give a fuck. Well, at least it seems, inside my opinion, there that she's saying, look, if you forgive me or not, I don't really care. But she did make the apology. Now, it doesn't excuse the fact that she did come out very, very hard and said some incorrect and
a win meat shield in Ukraine. Oh yeah, we do need those meat shields. We will mourn them equally.
Just a few good men. How about one good woman?
We will mourn them all equally, but there will be titles, and one with meat shield will be ranked very low on my list.
Like I said, we had a few good men. We could use one good woman. But no, and yes, she and I, as I said as much. Look, you messed up, Amanda. Okay, it doesn't mean that you're irredeemable. It doesn't mean that redemption is out of reach. Because I believe in second chances. I really do, and I don't like to hold things over. Because I said, and this is going to be the last I'm going to talk about it, save for anything other that comes up in the future which requires my attention. But I know I gave her a decent verbal lashing. I did so from a place of correction, not a place of maliciousness. And it was not designed simply to hurt. It was designed to be biting and to bring correction. It was what the Bible calls a justifiable, or what the Bible would illustrate as a justifiable anger. How Paul says, "Be angry, but in your anger do not sin." What I did wasn't sinful; it was corrective. Now, I say all that because, like I said just a second ago, I don't intend to bring this up anymore, because at that point, then it simply becomes us beating a dead horse and then getting into the realms of malice, where we're just trying to drag somebody. And there's plenty of people who do that on Twitter day by day as it is. We don't need to add to that cacophony of sound. But as it is still a fresh happening right now, I think that it's good that it has been talked about, and that you and I have talked about it in such a measured way. Because this is unacceptable. I don't care what your gender is, what your made-up gender is, what your pronouns are, what your new name is, whether you're polyamorous, whether you're monogamous, polygamous. I don't care.
Yeah.
But you have your life. I've got my life. But if you try and lessen the horror that is men, women, children, and seniors being killed potentially by the thousands by a satanic and sadistic regime like Russia, like Vladimir Putin's Russia, then I cannot and will not agree with that sentiment.
Now, of course, I have critiques of your tweets, as I am upset that they were not trolly enough. Because I do like a little troll every now and then, little knife stabs.
I know. I'm like James Cameron, finding that bar and setting it higher.
You're fine. But no, you responded you said it well. And again, it's like, yeah, to downplay the genocide that possibly could be happening here for the sake of don't want the
for party lines,
to which we don't even know if Trump even announced that he might even be thinking about running.
I personally don't think he will. He just said you're going to be very happy. You're going to be very happy with the nominee. That's what he said.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but to say that it's okay for the genocide because you just don't want him to be in office, that is unacceptable, and that is evil.
And in all honesty, and in seriousness too, your response was what a Christian response should be. Obviously, I would feel a tad bit more trolly, or
to each their own.
More blunt and whatnot. But what you said is correct. Like, when you see something like that, it needs to be pointed out, and whether you can do it in a straight way, which could come out as harsh, but that's not your problem, sort of thing, because you're doing it from a place of this is wrong and you need to know why it's wrong, XYZ, I'm done, sort of thing. Funny enough that how Twitter suggests little topics and whatnot. One of the topics was voice actors, and actually someone was like, and he quoted one of her tweets, and the guy was like, or girl, I don't know, but it was like, any of the other voice actors gonna say something about this and whatnot. And it was like, Caggy and what's it say? Kara Edwards or something like that. I was actually scrolling through the comments, and someone's like, Eric Rowling called her out on it. And then I got really funny when someone was like, oh, wasn't he the one that downplayed the January 6th terrorist insurrection? I just giggled at that one. Dude. I'm like, do you like...
So funny.
If that is a terrorist insurrection, again, I've said it again. I said this before. That is the most shitty insurrection I have ever seen in my entire life.
Yep. I'll tell you right now. Any other
Stuart says, LOL, Amanda doing her part for the cause of keeping Trump out. Rial, Sabat, and Markey are the tank division. Putin doesn't stand a chance. Tracksuits, BTFO. So Eric did it in a gay way.
Dude, super gay. It was
super
like,
gay.
I had my hands bent like this while I was typing with my little fingers. What's funny, and it's also tragic at the same time. But any of the mainstream voice actors out there, anybody who's watching this stream right here and now, which I hope this little clip right here gets taken out. Greg, take notes, and I hope this gets posted up on our Hot Button Co-op channel on Twitter.
All right.
Any mainstream voice actor who is Amanda Winlee's friend, who has not reached out to her behind the scenes to say, hey, I saw some of what you posted, and it concerns me. Or if questioned about, hey, what are your thoughts on this? Either doesn't just say, I've got nothing to do with it, leave me out of it, or supports what she said, you are a coward. Anybody, any mainstream voice actor or voice actress who does support what Amanda has said, you are a coward. Anybody out here who feels that tugging inside their heart that what was said is wrong, was wrong, and we can all agree that we can let it go, but you, because of your fear of losing out on a possible voiceover role inside whatever anime is being cast or whatever game is being cast, and because of that fear, you won't speak up even though you're desperate inside to say something and say what's right, you are a coward. And you cannot hope to build your life on that cowardice.
Yeah, because the people inside the industry will betray you and will sacrifice your career and your ability to work for the sake of their own.
Absolutely.
In the end.
Absolutely.
And that is why a lot of these people do not like other people and will put up the false facade of that they get along working with them. Mm-hmm. They don't. They are liars. They are snakes. They're two-faced.
Yep. And that's why I say, if asked about this, if asked about what you think of Amanda Winlee's comments, you do not condemn them. You are a coward.
And that's the thing. It doesn't even need to be online. But again, these people live online. Their social persona is their livelihood.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
That is what it is. They have no morals because they build their morals on sand, and it changes every day that they then have to. That's why a lot of what they do is hypocritical, and the double standard is just hilariously obvious because they have to change it every day to make sure that they are on, again, quote, the right side, end quote.
Yeah, pretty much. That nail square on the head. And like I said, reach out to her privately. If you actually consider her to be your friend, I would expect you to reach out to her privately, not try and defend the heinous things that she said, but reach out to her privately and say, hey girl, I'm concerned. Can we talk? I've done that to plenty of people, plenty of my friends, where I've seen them popping off online and saying incredibly derisive and hateful things. And I've gone to them privately behind for their own, because of the respect I have for the person. I've gone to them privately and I said, hey, look, your comments are very concerning to me. I'm seeing this, and this. It seems that you're suggesting such and such. If you need to talk, I am here. And for the sake of not embarrassing them, I do that. And I've had great amicable resolve because I've done that. So I would expect and I would hope that anybody else out there, mainstream voiceover or mainstream anime or otherwise, if you do consider yourself to be Amanda Winley's friend, I would hope that you would do the neighborly thing, the brotherly thing, the sisterly thing, reach out to her and say, hey girl, I see you were popping off online. Some people dogpiled on you. Why don't we grab a coffee and let's talk about it? You seem like you need to get some things off your chest here and we can work through some things. This way, we don't end up over-emotionally posting online in a fit of either rage or fear or jealousy or just sadness. And we think through what we really do want to say. And we think, okay, is this adding to the noise? Is this constructive? Or is this completely useless and vulgar? Because if it's the latter, then it doesn't need to be posted. That's what I would hope you, as her friends, would do.
Angron says, from what Nick said and hinted at, it doesn't seem like any of the voice actors really like each other. They just pretend so they don't get canceled and fired.
Yes, you're absolutely 100% correct. There are exceptions. Several of us do get on pretty famously, but the overwhelming majority of people inside that biz do not get along. They're very, very catty. You notice I don't say names. You won't say if we're in this very specific instance because we're talking about Amanda Winley.
She made it public.
Yeah, I don't say names when I talk about anything that goes on inside that community or has gone on that I've been a party to, because I am not a gossip. It's not my job to sit here and try and poison somebody against another person. And anybody watching this, do not go to Amanda Winley's page and put her on blast. Do not message her behind the scenes and say derisive and mean, nasty shit to her. That is not your place to do that. Leave her alone. She messed up. She made an apology. I think we can let the heat die down off of her and see what she does going forward.
That's really the thing. And I said it on Crumb's show at one time. Like, at times, yeah, you might have to be direct at who you're talking to, yes, but obviously it always comes from a defensive response. They said something, and if they made it public, as far as I'm concerned, all bets are, that's fine, sort of thing. But yeah, don't mention these people by name. And it's funny because this is what drives them crazy the most, is that they freak out because, and it's so high school petty shit. It's literally like back in the day, you would be talking to your group of friends about something that you might have heard or done, something like that. This person's name happens to get brought up. You kind of give your thoughts about it, move on, and they're like kind of on the outside, and they get so mad that they're like, you did not give them their attention. This drives them crazy, and it's hilarious to see them freak out about it. Because, again, it goes back to what I say at the end of the day. People are going to talk about you. Why give those people your attention and just move on and whatnot? Or better yet, understand that there are people that might talk about you and stuff like that, but try to get along,
Yeah, and you don't have to feed the trolls.
You don't have to.
You have the right to not engage, and that's the thing that so many people. And
if people could just move past that, then again, we could bring back the anime community, and
we really could
back together. If people stopped giving a shit about who voted for who or who supports what and whatnot, because they made it this extreme.
Yeah,
they made it this extreme, and they get absolutely mad when, for lack of better terms, you use the little stupid tactics they use against them, and it just drives them wild. It's
an unlivable way to try and maintain your existence, because if they really do care about anime, or as much as they claim to care about anime and the community, then you would never, ever, ever say something as derisive as, if you voted for Trump, unfollow me now because I don't want you around. You would never, ever say that, because then you're alienating probably half of your fan base there, and you're more or less telling a bunch of people that are trying to enjoy the show that you're lending your voice to because they're taken with that story, not the story of politics that's going on in our world. You're alienating them and making them feel like garbage. And you can't hope to try and keep a community together like that when you're going online and you're labeling people as racists or misogynists or bigots or homophobes or xenophobes. You can't possibly hope to mend any bridges or fences that way. So either
it should be the craft first, and then whatever you believe in second.
Yes.
But these people have made it to where it's whatever you believe in first.
Yep.
And it better be what we think.
Yeah, exactly. There's no room for
and there's
any
no
shade of
room
gray.
for everything. And again, but this wasn't like that in the beginning. The weeds have infested, and they need to be ripped out, as far as I'm concerned, and thrown into the deepest pit of Tartarus.
Well, here's something else that I don't think is too far off.
And there are people who despise the Sabbath Shemo Reals, but are afraid of getting blackballed.
Yes.
I think in general, leftyism folks don't like each other because they don't like themselves, and they know any of them can turn on them. That's the thing. Again, and
Yes.
I said this before too.
Yes.
They are a dog-eat-dog economy.
Mm-hmm.
That is what it is, and they know that can and probably will happen to them if they do not fall in line.
Yeah.
And that's sad, because you should not have to live your life like that.
Absolutely.
Because
not.
we should be adults enough to realize that we will not agree on everything. That doesn't mean that people should be alienated from working or expressing their opinion or what have you.
Yep.
Because we are adults enough to realize that we can go beyond that, and we can get along with people who may have different thoughts and opinions about stuff.
Absolutely.
Because that does not need to be the fucking conversation and topic of everything that you ever talk about.
Yep.
Every single time.
Yeah, I am friends with so many people who I differ with politically because I value them as a person more than I value what they think about a politician and his stance on this or her stance on that. Like, this is what I think is going to be the real burner for a lot of people right now who are either on the up and up or who are well established within the anime voiceover community. And I mean particularly those who are directing, those who are casting for shows. And it is that the up and coming generation right now, the ones you see being so vulgar and so vile online, putting on blast everybody and everything that they can't stomach, and doing it in such a crude fashion, but then turning around and in the same breath saying like, oh, I'm having a shitty day, send me all your puppy memes, nothing happens unless you swing the bat, guys, get out there and be somebody. That up and coming crowd that is playing these characters in these shows, some of them training to be directors themselves and cast their own shows, they are that way because they looked up to all their idols doing that exact same thing. I'm talking about a lot of the veterans who are very, very poorly behaved online and who say some very, very terrible, outlandish, pointed things that would make your grandmothers ashamed. The younger generation is seeing that, and they see how so many people inside the anime world cast just their friends, and how they do this back scratching thing where it's like, oh yeah, I was in or you were in my show, so I better be in your show, and vice versa, where some will play ball with that and some won't. The up and comers, they see that, they're not blind to that, and they do the exact same thing. So here's what's going to happen. As more and more and more of the old vets step down from directing positions, and
if they want to give up that power.
Yeah, if they want to give
course.
the power. As well, I mean, just like law of age being what it is, eventually they'll have to step down. But as more and more of them step down from directing positions or are replaced with the younger guns who are now going to be taking up those directing spots, they're not going to have the same camaraderie of casting between each other's shows as they once did. And if they think that this younger generation that looks at most of them as total buffoons and losers is going to cast them in their shows over their friends who are just as maniacal as they are online, then the older crew has another thing coming, and they're living inside a blind world, because that's what's going to happen. They will have created, and they have indeed created, their own replacement monster. And it should not come as a surprise when suddenly none of them are getting booked for any of these shows and expecting that, oh, well, my anime career should have just kept on like it has for all these years.
And that's so sad because there's a lot of people who helped bring up these people to where they are today.
Yep, and they're going to get completely left out in the rain.
I think I said today, but I meant today, but it is to be gay.
I'll tell you what, I'll be totally shocked if it doesn't happen, because the way that the prior gatekeepers have acted and behaved, they have made it okay for these younger kids coming in to act that very same way, and to be catty, and to be malicious, and be vitriolic like they are all being. And they really have created their own replacement monsters. And I'm telling you, I'll be surprised if it doesn't happen exactly like that. Suddenly they'll be like, well, I used to have all this work and now I can't buy a job. Well, it's because they learned from the best, which was you, and now they're doing exactly like you did.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As I dubbed myself the Rocco of the situation. Yep.
Yep.
What you said is absolutely 100% true.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if the gatekeepers right now and the old crew that's there still directing hopes to have any chance of having anything new, and this is beyond their legacy characters like those in One Piece or Dragon Ball Z or some of these longer shows, if they hope to have any chance at having any new roles in some of the newer shows, once further down the line, when most of them are out of the directing scene, then they better keep at least one or two of them still in directors' chairs, who will call them in for work from time to time and will cast them in the show. Because if they don't, this younger crew, they have shown that they don't have any allegiances.
And what's worse is that it's because of these people acting this way, it gives false idea to people who may want to step into the industry. Go, well, I guess I got to act this way.
Yep.
Which is not how it should be. It should just be your work.
Yeah, it's
and
like, can't you just
skill.
be an actor and just have fun acting?
Well, again,
why do you
like
have to act like a schmuck?
Again, well, that's what it is that the acting, they say the acting should come first, but they don't do it.
It's the attitude.
It's the attitude and the persona is what they think that they need to do first, and then the acting will catch up on it. Angron says, anyone else remember the yaoi paddling and glomping what is it, circa 2006 cons? Nope. I mean, I've heard of them. I never experienced them because,
I do know of what you speak. I'm a
man.
Super alpha giga
Also,
Chad.
I noticed quite few big name VEAs dipped out of the scene for video games and live actions around the same time woke shit started, like the voice of Serena from Skyrim and Roy Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist. Oh, that's Travis.
Interesting.
If I remember right. Travis Willingham, right? Is Roy?
Is that? I think
so. I think it is.
Well, and here's another thing. If you go online, you see that there are.
Well, to kind of answer his question, and you might be getting to where maybe what I interrupted you with but a lot of them are actually starting just to create their own stuff.
Yeah.
Because they do not want to have to deal with this garbage, even if they might have similar opinions on stuff. Which I respect those type of people way more.
Oh yeah.
Than
let's grab this one.
Than the schmucks over at a certain studio.
And to be clear, I'm not harboring any kind of ill will against these people. I hope they have burgeoning careers, but I still do maintain, for the old crew that is still there, if you hope to have any work going forward, then you either better figure out how to live forever or don't ever quit your job. because you guys and the way, and not all of them, there are exceptions, of course, in every circumstance.
Well, that's one thing.
But the way that the more vile and vulgar ones online, who seem to have no dam to hold back some of their emotions, because of the way that they've been acting, and because of the way that these other younger ones have seen that and decided to take that to heart, they should not hope to have work going forward once those kids take over and start directing.
Yeah, and I want to state the record too. Like, I actually do know actors who are really good, and I hope that their career just explodes. You know, so there are good people.
Absolutely.
There are good people in there. But like I said, there are a lot of weeds, and if I don't want to get deep into like healing the anime community, but in all honesty, a lot of the healing can get fixed if you guys just stop the stupid nonsense, the extreme nonsense.
Stop trying to force everybody to agree with everything that you want them to agree with.
It's sad too, because I also think that for whatever reason, there's going to be people in there who just, they will follow what they see to the T. They will try to do stuff to the T. They will do whatever they can, and for some reason, they just will not be allowed to continue further, for whatever reason, and that should not be the case. Like, the acting scene is tough because you are going against a bunch of other people, and it hurts when you don't get casted or what have you, when you're competing against, you know, a bunch of other fellow actors. But then there's another different type of hurt where it's just the same people over again. And there was a particular person that I saw, and I'm not going to name who it was, but the tweets are out there, even though I said it's public, so as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter. But I can't even actually think of the name. But don't be fooled when they say, when they establish actors going, I'm tired of seeing people saying that we cast the same people. There are so many new faces. There's so many new XYZ. Let me be specifically clear. Warning label. The new faces you are seeing are one of the following. They're part of the LGBTQ community. They're a person of color. They're left-leaning, or they're already pre-established. I hate to say it, but that, if you fill out those checklists, you will have I personally think you will have possibly a better chance.
Because
of
so many of the younger crowd, especially, who are directing now and who are casting shows, they are all for this tokenization of people, of getting these commodities, of meeting their quotas so they can check off all the boxes. Like, it really is.
Either of you familiar with a young lady named Amanda Lee? Yeah. Emily. Or I know back on YouTube it was Leon Lee or something like that. She does voiceover work, but familiar with her music covers. Yeah, I've heard of her. Sorry for interrupting.
I'm not real familiar. No, I was pretty much done.
Oh, okay.
Not real familiar. I think
I've heard some of her
show. I think
I've heard some of her stuff.
I have not heard the covers. She probably has a banging singing voice.
Yeah, she has a really good singing voice. I think she has like over 1 million subscribers or something.
That's awesome. You got that placard. But yeah,
one day we'll get it.
And with all of what was said here, none of this is to try and diminish the fact that anime as an art form is still an awesome art form. And when, as an actor, when you're given a part to play, or you're given a story to work with, you're a caretaker of that story. And as the caretaker of that story, it's up to you to bring to life the words on the script as best as you possibly can, and tell that story as best as you can. It's not your job to inject your own personal hang-ups, whether it be political, religious, familial, or otherwise. If it's going to take away from the script, if it's not what's in the script, especially if you're doing an adaptation, it needs to be left out. Just let the art be the art that it is. Let the amazing story that has been written into the pages simply be that, and don't try and shoehorn in any other nonsense that doesn't need to be there, because people see it.
There is a proper way to westernize it to get the message across. It does not have to result in a certain ideology.
Yeah,
that does not have to be used.
And you'll notice that the anime out there that has an agenda to address a specific issue, like Shield Hero, the entire show is designed to address the issue from the outset. The entire show is written to address that. We don't need somebody interjecting Pizzagate or I'm done with you guys' patriarchy into a show that has nothing to do about that. Also, given that most anime is set in Japan,
they don't care about that stuff.
Do not care about what is going on over here politically. Again, unless the show has been written to address that, i.e. Shield Hero.
Yep.
No, yeah. I wish everybody in the industry all the best. I really, really do. I don't wish for anybody to have work taken away from them, because I've had that happen to me, and that really, really sucks. And even if I hadn't had it happen to me, I still wouldn't wish that on somebody, because that really, really sucks.
Well, I think that's something that I think, like, what you're agreeing with, like, obviously, it's terrible. Like, canceling is such a bullshit thing.
It is.
Over, like, some of the stupidest reasons.
And now certain things should be canceled, definitely. But that's more on the topic of hunting truth at all costs.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I know what you mean.
Of course that, yeah. But the thing that I know that really infuriates me is that you are turning away people who might be a great asset to the community in the sense of being a fabulous actor, for lack of better terms, but they could never shine because they look at this and go, I don't want to step in this. I don't want to step in this area if this is what I got to do, sort of thing, or I have to believe this way, or, I can't, if I just make one person upset, they're going to go spread stuff all around and stuff like this for some stupid reason. Yep. That to me is bullshit, and that is 100% garbage for people who do that. That is disgusting that you are destroying people's possible dreams of wanting to do stuff because they see your actions, and it's pathetic.
Yeah. It's like you have a disagreement with somebody, and so you want to destroy their entire career because of the disagreement. It's totally insane. It's patently absurd. Why?
Really? Really surprised Funny dubbed that and didn't interspecies reviewers it. Certain people were pissed when the plot was revealed.
Dude.
I don't get it.
People trying to call those who enjoyed Shield Hero rape apologists. That's a level of dim-wittedness that it's hard to even speak to, because the person is not going to understand half of what you would have to say to them.
Oh. There is no gun.
No, I just ferrying you to the gates of judgment.
Well, believe it or not, pup, we are 5 minutes to 9.
Holy cow.
So let's see, and I marked the time when this topic I brought up at an hour 26. So we spent half an hour.
Well done.
Really hammering hard that in the end, it's like what you said, it's be very careful of who you want to follow online, because you're going to see either their true form show up and find out what they really think and believe, or you're going to find a fake facade.
Yep.
And it's going to be one or the other. And in the end, you're going to be disappointed of who they are as a real person, or you're going to be turned off that they are being not true.
Yep.
To what's happening. We have to.
We're waiting on her to or unless she stopped there. Wait, maybe that's where we're supposed to stop. Probably where we're supposed to stop. Yeah, and you and I were talking the other day about how it's been really hard to try and even enjoy some anime as of late, because it's tough remembering a lot of that, a lot of the nonsense that's been forced into it. It's hard to separate now when you go to watch it. It's like, oh man, I don't want to have to think about all this other craziness. I just want to be able to enjoy my show. Oh man, Buck is stuck back there. Did we miss a check? No, we gotta go down there, I think.
Buck, no.
But
Buck futter.
Buck futter.
Buck futter.
But if you can separate it, and this is why I really do, I've said it probably 100 times, you've got to get good at separating the art from the artist. If you
leave me,
yeah, totes. If you have something that you really enjoy, that you still really love, then still enjoy it, and do your best not to let yourself be disappointed by the actions of those who created. If the story that you are watching is good and can stand on its own, then let it stand on its own. Recognize that you're going to have those crazies out there that seem to exist just to complain, but it doesn't keep you from being able to enjoy what you love. So don't let them take that from you. Fight tooth and nail not to let them take what you love away from you.
Area secure. Veronica, come to us. We'll cover you.
well, is there any other topics you wanted to try to squeeze in here in 2 minutes?
Well, we are on the officially the last mission, so might as well just keep on at least playing to finish this one up so we can move on to Reach next time around.
What do we need to do?
We are going to have to fight some Covenant here. We just need old Virgil to get his squiggly little butt past us. I like that his name is Virgil.
Virgil.
Oh, Virgil. Yeah, it's been a good night for conversation. We had a lot to get to. A last little interesting thing that I saw.
Do it. Finish it.
was
Stewart says.
the LA DA George Gascon.
Gascon?
Might as well. More or less is being recalled because of his soft on crime policies. Violent crime and homelessness is skyrocketing in LA. Homicides are up from the previous year 11%. They are at a 15-year high right now. And that's because of practices like we saw during the BLM riots, where you've got, oh my goodness, our beloved vice president, Miss Yuck It Up at every possible turn she can, raising money to bail out people that were the legitimate insurrectionists, burning down businesses, kicking in storefronts, beating people in the streets. And the people in LA, they're sick of it. They were really, really sick of it. In fact, check this out. The Association of Deputy District Attorneys actually voted to remove Gascon. And it wasn't just a few of them. The union of them, 97.9% voted to remove this guy. If that doesn't tell you that people on both sides of the aisle don't care for you, then I don't know what will. But there's been a lot of things that have gone on in his administration that have, or under his rule, that have really, 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 I don't even want to say rubbed citizens the wrong way. Say flat out incensed them. One of them being, and this really, really sucks, is this creepy, wretched pervert named James Tubbs assaulted this 10-year-old.
His name sounds pervy.
Yeah,
Who
assaulted.
are you talking to, Tubbs?
Yeah, assaulted this 10-year-old girl
Ugh.
in a restroom when he was 17. He was just shy of turning 18. All right. So they finally tracked this guy down 8 years later, right? Mm-hmm. He's supposed to stand trial because of the craziness that Gascon's his leadership has wrought, this guy, who is now claiming to be trans and going by the name Hannah, not only is going to be tried as a woman, but is going to be tried as a minor because he was 17 when he committed the crime.
I mean, the minor part, yeah, unfortunately, that's how it works. It's when the event takes place. But really?
But the fact of the matter is that this is a crime of a deviant sexual nature. The victim of it, who's now 18, finally has spoken out about this and said, this man, the fact that they're trying, essentially words to the effect of the fact that they're trying to try him because he's now going by different pronouns as a her, the fact that because he's using different pronouns, instead of trying him as a man, they're trying him as a woman, is disgusting because he did not act like a man when he violated her. He should be tried as an adult because the things that he inflicted upon her were very adult.
Be thrown in Gehenna as far as I'm concerned.
Honestly, he should have been castrated. Not chemically, physically, he should have been castrated. And
no anesthesia.
And also, the guy was laughing and bragging about this, about how nothing's going to happen to him because he's going to be tried as a minor, and apparently he won't have to have his name placed on the sexual predator registry. Now, if that isn't injustice, I don't know what is.
Well, that's dangerous enough that, one, if he gets off or whatever, like, more than confident,
they better put him in WITSEC.
Someone's going to find him. I guarantee you someone will probably find him. And if he does get convicted and tried, he's not going to survive that long. And no. I really, really hope they don't put him...
I hope he does get tried as an adult. Because... Like you were saying,
Warhammer fandom is in the same boat. Boycott seems to have worked though, and the games workshop is ceasing their douchery. Well, that's good.
Good.
Pedo claiming trans to get sympathy and a lighter sentence. I'm shocked.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, BattleTech fans are trying to lure as many disaffected WH fans to their hobby. No,
it's a crazy world out there.
Well, it's like what we said, like. Kids are seeing this sort of stuff as a fad, and then the adults are seeing it as an scapegoat. And this is what, and people got insulted and called, transphobic and all this stuff because people are going to do this, and then you see people do it, and then they're like, well, this is just a weird occasion. It's like, no, it's not a weird occasion. It's not a one time.
No, it's not. Because the thing is with people, we are a species that loves to push the envelope. And I can tell you this, of course, anecdotally, but from my own experience as an actor, I've lived a lot harder than most people. And as an actor, you tend to do that. And there were days where I would do or say something just to see how much I could get away with. And if nobody's checking you and saying, hey, maybe don't do that, you keep pushing and you keep pushing. Now, if you have a moral compass and or serve a god, you will know where the line is and know not to cross it. I didn't cross it. Some people, though, they will push and push and push and push, and even if they are met with resistance, they still shirk that off, and they will still push further and do the unthinkable things. Like James Tubbs.
Is this the end?
This is it.
I can't tell you what the story was about.
We had to get that little guy with the ship, I guess. We'd find him because he's an engineer.
Seems like a nice fellow. not the guy.
Virgil.
Yeah.
With his turtle shell bulbous sack on his back. Yeah, it is a wild world that we live in, but we are not without reasons to have hope, and we are not without reasons to keep marching forward. And all that we discussed today, main thing I can tell you, if you want to see life breathed back into your communities and you want to see tides change, is if you're a believing person, make sure you're hitting your knees every single day and praying for the state of affairs, not just in your neck of the woods, but abroad. Right now, Ukraine, if you can't be there physically or you can't send aid in the form of money or a care package, your prayers are definitely coveted by the people over there. So do your battle from your knees and fight for these people, because they can use it. And it really does seem like God has his guardian angels in place in that region right now, with as awesome a display of nationalism as we've seen from the people of Ukraine in putting up this fight against the Russian invaders. They're definitely being watched over, for sure. Also, though we ended up discussing a lot of kind of glum things today, obviously we don't want to darken or dampen your spirits. That's not our intent.
Nope.
Much like I've said before, and we've talked a couple times about this, when it comes to taking in anything, observing anything, or experiencing anything, you have the right to look or not look. And when it comes to the craziness that we see online or inside the world, you have the right to engage with it or not engage with it. You can and you should be choosy with how you choose to engage with it. If you know that something is going to be completely caustic to your soul and to your psyche, then it's probably good to be left alone. But if you have something of value to say and you're not just going to be adding to the noise, and you are genuinely concerned with hunting the truth, speaking the truth, and living the truth day by day by day, then say what you gotta say, do what you have to do, and live the way you need to live. There's always a silver lining. You gotta dig to find it sometimes. Silver lining inside this invasion to Ukraine, I would say, is that Ukrainian people, they are fighting back and they are doing a bang up job. Silver lining on this issue of this poor girl who got assaulted is that this man who allowed this to go on under his watch, George Gaskin, this guy is looking like he's going to be out of office. There's a silver lining there. Silver lining, I'm hoping, for this Amanda Wynn Lee going off the rails yesterday is hopefully that she'll get some help if she needs some help, and hopefully she won't make a mistake of this magnitude again, and hopefully fans who have a burning desire to be that same kind of aspiring voice actor will look at this as a way how not to act in the future, especially if they want to keep a fan base and their job.
Nice.
Well, that's what I got, dear Gregopoos. We finished.
We did it.
Halo ODST. One glitch there in the beginning. Not so bad after we got that sorted out.
Some boomer issues, which I don't get because I literally imported everything into this one just because I didn't know if that was going to be multi. But whatever. Looks like we got it sorted out.
Oh, I almost forgot. Greg, Milady, and I, we all went and voted today in the primaries. This was the last day for early voting, but make sure and get out there on March 1st and make your voice heard when it comes time to mark up your ballot and submit it. It is your civic duty. You don't vote in an election, you get no room from me to complain about its outcome.
Very good. Alrighty. And with that, we will catch you guys later. Thanks for joining by. Like, subscribe. All of our social media are listed below. And yeah, I believe not this Friday because we have D&D.
Yes. Probably Saturday.
So Saturday, I would assume. Later, gents. Yeah. And Ron, thanks for stopping by. So keep an eye out. I should be online sometime this week, streaming.
Luigi's Mansion.
I've been bouncing between that and Skyrim, but I think I'll be doing some Luigi time around.
Yes.
So, very good, very good. But yeah, catch you guys on the flip side. Stay strong, stay positive, and more importantly, enjoy the things that you enjoy.
Yep.
And, you know,
Do something good for yourself.
yes, treat yourself.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Adios. Have a good night.
Take care.